Alright guys, it's about 7 a.m. in the morning and I want to get this test pipe installed on my B6 A4. Had to go through an extra step to be able to get this guy here because most places won't want to ship test pipe to my state. So I want to thank the guy that helped me out with that. Anyways, let's get this CC out of the garage and pull the B6 into the garage and get this test pipe installed. So I guess it's best to get a video of how it sounds with the co-star and a little rev too with the stock cat in there, so we can compare the differences after I installed the test pipe. So I'm gonna go ahead and get a video of that too. All right, let's get this garage closed because it's kind of cold out there. So let's take a quick look at this little test pipe here. So I got this from CTS, as you can see there. It has 3 ports for O2 sensor. The extra one down here is actually for wideband if you want to do that. But in my case, I'm not going to need to even use that. The welds on here are actually pretty nice. You guys can see that. And the quality of this piece is actually pretty good. So excited to get this guy in. Like I said earlier, I had to go through an extra step to be able to get this shipped to my state because most places, even the ones on eBay, wouldn't want to ship to me. But yeah, let's go and check out the car and see what I would need to do. Okay, so the first thing I would need to do is remove the stock intake box so that I have access to the stock cat right down there. And then after that, I should be able to start removing the stock cat. I think I'm going to start working from the top here first and then the bottom part of the cat. So let me go ahead and start removing the stock air box. So before I get this video started, help me out guys. Do me a favor and subscribe to my channel. All you gotta do is hit that red subscribe button. Thanks guys. All right, so let's get started on this airbox here. So the first thing we're gonna do is remove the top snorkel. All it is 2 Phillips screw here and just pop it out. Okay, the snorkel is out. So the way you remove this is pop it out from this end up first and then just hold it and slide it out this way. And then it should come right out. Now, let's get the actual airbox out. Okay, so it looks like there'll be a couple of things that we need to do to be able to pull out this airbox here. Looks like the heat shield needs to come off so that the hoses here can be able to get removed from the airbox. We have the intake hose here. Got to get that off the airbox. The secondary air injection hose, some of these other cables, and then a little plastic screw right here. And I think there's also like some rubber grommets into the frame that you can just pop out with 2 tabs that's on the airbox here. You can just pull it out. So let me go ahead and get started on that. I think I'm gonna first start on the heat shield. Okay, the heat shield is off. So there was only 4 small little Phillips screw that holds it onto the airbox. So you can see the 4 hole on the heat shield here. 1, 2, 3, and 4. The 4 screws that I took out. And the tool that I use was a little small flex head ratchet with a Phillips little hex bit right here. Okay, so the next thing I'll be doing is removing this metal vacuum hose off of the airbox here. It looks like there's just 3 small screws that holds it onto the airbox. Let me show you where they're at. There's one up top here, there's one down here, and there's another one down here. So let me go ahead and get those guys removed. Okay, so the 3 screws is out. Looks exactly like the screws that holds the heat shield in, and I use the same tool. Well, I actually kind of just switch it over to this little ratchet here, because this is a little bit, I didn't like that flex here, and it's just a 1/4" ratchet, a 1/4" socket, and then the small little Phillips bit that goes in there. And now you can see here it's off of the airbox. It will not keep us hung up when we are trying to take off this airbox. So the next thing I'm gonna do is remove the intake hose that connects to the mouth here. All of this is either a little flathead here, or I believe that's an 8 or 7mm head here. So let me go ahead and get that guy off. Okay, so the mouth hose is off. This here was a little 7mm head, so just use that. Pulled off the mouth hose from, or the intake or mouth hose off of the mouth, and also unplug the mouth. And to be able to unplug this, all you gotta do is pull this tab backwards here and pull it off. Next thing to do is remove the secondary air hose. All you would really do is there's little like rough edges on this side here. You just gotta pop it and pull it off. So let me see if I can try to pull it off right now. There it goes. That's off. Now, next thing is to get this little plastic pop-in screw here off so that the airbox can come out. So let me go ahead and pop that guy out. Okay, so the little push-in nut is out. All I did was use a screwdriver and pull it out, or just kind of pry it out, which is fairly easy, and just pull the airbox off a slot over there. So the airbox should be ready to be removed, hopefully. Oh, also got to pull off this hose around the box, and I think we should unplug this so that it gives us more clearance too. So let me unplug this guy real quick. There. And now the airbox should be able to pull out. So let me go ahead and give that an attempt. Okay, so the airbox is out. Here's that little 2 rubber pieces here that I said that kind of just pops into the frame in these 2 holes. All you gotta do is just pull it out and it just pop up. So now we have access to the top catalytic converter bolts here. Okay, so now let's get started on this cat. First thing I'm gonna do is remove this O2 sensor, which is just 7/8. I'm just gonna use a wrench to take that out, and then there's 3 nuts that holds this top portion of the cat in. I'm just gonna use a wrench for the top 2, and then for the very bottom here, it looks like I'm gonna have to figure out some sort of swivel extension to be able to reach that guy. So let me go ahead and get that all out and then explain to you how I actually did it. Alright guys, so I was only able to get the 2 top nuts off. They were just 17mm nuts, and all I used was a 17mm wrench. For the bottom one, I think that I can only get it through the bottom, so I will be jacking up the car to take off the bottom nut. And then of course here, the O2 sensor, all it was a 7/8, and all I used was a 7/8 wrench. So now I'm gonna jack up the car and take off the last bolt and then start working the bottom portion of the cat. Okay, so the last nut for the top portion of the cat is off. I had to use a variety of extensions and a swivel. So it's just a 3/8 drive, the small extension, I think that's 3 or 5, and I don't know how long that one is, but that and the 17mm socket to be able to get the last bottom nut off. So now I'm gonna start working on the bottom nuts and bolts and the bottom O2 sensor. So first what I'm gonna do is remove the O2 sensor off of the cat first, and then work those 3 last bolts and nuts. Alright guys, so I had to take the axle heat shield off to get better access to these bolts and the downstream O2 sensor. All I used to remove the downstream O2 sensor was a 7/8 wrench, and now I'm going to start to work on these 3 bolts here. I'm glad that the test pipe came with new bolts and nuts, because these ones were starting to rust really bad. Here's that heat shield that I was talking about. There's only 3 bolts that hold this in. 1, 2, 3. And this were them. They were 6mm Allen bolts. And all I used was a ratchet and the 6mm Allen socket and some extensions. And that should be able to take it out. But there's some, like this top one here and this guy here, where you have to get in a weird position, but it's pretty easy to take out. All right, guys, stock cat is finally out. So for the bottom bolt, mine will be totally different from you guys, because when I first bought the car, for some reason, the bottom bolts to the catalytic converter here were missing. So I had to buy some temporary bolts and nuts to bolt it down to this downpipe. Anyways, to be able to get those bolts out, you know, you got to use your respective size bolt socket. And then I have one swivel and a bunch of extension there on a 3/8 ratchet, plus the respective size wrench for the other end. And then once all of that is out, you should be able to pull it out from the top of the engine bay, like how I did it here. I just, pull it off of these studs and then just pull it out up from the top here. So that's how I remove the stock cat. Now let's get the test pipe in. So like I said earlier, I'm glad that these came with new nuts and studs. So before I install this, I feel like I want to heat wrap it so that it can help reduce engine bay temp and whatnot. So I think I'm gonna go stop by the auto parts store real quick and see if I can find some heat wrap for this test pipe before I install them. Alright guys, just got back from AutoZone and got this DJI titanium exhaust wrap. Now I'm going to start wrapping the test pipe. Dang, just finished wrapping, but I should have thought about how I was going to finish it off by securing down the end of the wrap. Should have got myself some metal wire. Gonna have to figure something out now. Okay, just finished wrapping, so I didn't really have anything other than a freaking extra intake hose clamp. Hopefully that's heat resistance or can handle heat very well, because that's the only thing I have right now, but it's holding it really nice. I really wanted to wrap the top portion of this, but there's the 2 bungs, so I didn't want to cut holes inside of the wrap. So I think just gonna leave it the way it is. I mean, something better than nothing. But yes, this guy is ready to go in. Before I install them, I need to insert these threads here. So what I'm gonna do is install the test pipe, and the way I'm gonna do that is do the exact way as how I took it out. So the next time you see it will be the car all put back together and ready for a little cold start. All right guys, everything is back together. Airbox is in, test pipe is in. Let me grab a flashlight real quick. So top O2 sensor is in, 3 bolts up top tightened down. The rear O2 sensor there is in, and the 3 bottom bolts and nuts tightened down. So I think the car is ready for a little cold start with the new test pipe. All right, so there it is, guys. Cold start and some cold revs with the new test pipe in. As expected, not that big of a difference in sound, but for sure I did hear the turbo spool much more when I was inside the car revving the car. Anyways, the engine seemed fine. The only thing I need to do now is take it for a test drive and see how it is. Right now it's still on stock tune, so for sure after a certain mileage, certain mileage being put on it, the check engine light for the rear O2 sensor is going to come up. But anyways, I'm going to go take it for a test drive and see how it drives. Alright guys, so just put a little over 80 miles on the car with the new test pipe, and the car drove great. As expected, the check engine light came on for the rear O2 sensor. I drove about, 50 to 60 miles, and then the check engine light came on. Impressions about the test pipe. So fitment was not perfect from what I've seen and noticed from installing them. From installing the test pipe was that the downstream O2 sensor location is slightly off from the OEM Cadillac converter. Is kind of like moved upward a little bit. In addition to that, for some reason, it feels like the test pipe is a little bit shorter than the OEM cat pipe, because I did have to unbolt the down pipe off of the transmission and move the pipe up more towards the test pipe, and then bolt down the test pipe before I have to re-bolt down the down pipe onto the transmission. Other than that, it seems okay so far. Since it's a test pipe, so there was a slight smell. Noise wise, yes, there is a little bit more of a pronunciation on the turbo spool. For some reason I do hear like a tinny, like a tin canny type of pinging noise, so I'm gonna have to double check the bolts and stuff to make sure they're torqued down correctly. Let's see, anything else other than that. Everything is good. Just I'm not a little bit surprised, but I already have a feeling. I've already had this feeling, but it's pretty surprising what just a test pipe can do without a tune when installed on the car, because now the car does feel a little bit more torquier and not as much lag when accelerating, so that feels good. Pretty excited to get a tune to compensate and actually bring out the potential of the test pipe. But before I get it tuned, I do want to throw some TT injectors in there first, so that I can do all that, what they call it, stage one tune all together, rather than doing just the tune and then add injectors later. So I want to put the injectors in there first before getting the tune, so I can just go straight to the what they call a quote unquote stage 1 plus file, or the injector file. Other than that, since the car is warmed up, let me just give you a little bit of warm revs, and hopefully if anyone just wants a test pipe with the stock exhaust, then this is what it would sound like. Alright guys, so that's what it sounds like when the car is up to operating temperature. Not that big of a difference compared to just stock Cadillac converters, but it's still way too quiet for me, so I'm definitely going to get the rear two mufflers cut out real soon, and that's definitely going to make a big difference. So if you have any questions about the test pipe installation on the B6 A4 with the 1.8 turbo, just comment it down below, and I'll try my best to help you guys out and answer your questions. Anyways, I want to thank you guys for watching this video. Don't forget to subscribe to help support my channel. Comment any sort of feedback to help my channel grow, and like this video if you find it helpful. Thanks guys. I'll see you guys in the next video.